Wow, this is our first episode of Not Suited. All right, I'm very excited to have you here, Dalia. We'll talk more about your profile, but I just want to introduce to everybody who's seeing or watching this episode right now. We're a channel called Not Suited. We talk about ideas, about passions, and basically anything that you guys do on a regular basis that is outside the norm. We generally, in this channel, we will go after people who are doing blogging, or right now the social media influencers or entrepreneurs, and they sort of broke all the expectation outside what the norm has set out for us, right? So we believe at Not Suited that everyone in generation of millennial and Gen Z sort of right now in a conflict where there's so much available to them as far as the resources where they can break out and do something spontaneous. And then, it could be something, anything, as far as you could do TikTok, you could do YouTube, you could do, just like our guest today, Dalia, you could be a travel blogger, and, you can travel full time. You don't have to work 9 to 5. So I'm very excited to introduce you guys to Dalia. Dalia, so I would love to hear a little bit about you, and you would like mention a few things about yourself to the audience, and then I'll follow with the follow-up questions.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be talking to you.
Absolutely.
And, a little bit about myself. I was really, really lucky to discover early on in my life that I love traveling. Like, I really, really do, and I'm passionate about it. I love visiting new places, eating new food, making new friends. So all that really motivates me to keep on doing it. So at first, I was just thinking about how can I travel more without any money, because I didn't have a lot of money. So I started, applying to different scholarships and opportunities that I had access in my university. And I was really focused on that. And I actually won every scholarship that there was that I could apply. There was one where they were only searching for engineers, and I was studying business, and I applied and I got it because I wanted to travel. So I always, and I even tried, selling brownies and, baked goods. And then I moved to selling makeup. I just wanted to get money to keep traveling and traveling and traveling. So everything that I did was focused on that. And actually, one of these scholarships.
That's amazing. Yeah, go.
Thank you. One of these scholarships was a trip to New York for 3 weeks, in order to start your own business. Yeah. And I said, of course, I want to win a 3-week trip to New York. And then I got it. And my team, we were, putting teams. We got really, really good. We won the competition, and we kept moving forward to the next round. And we got to the final round. And in there, there was, the head of HR. And she told me hey, we're interested, in interviewing people. And I said okay, well, I'm about to graduate. I think it's time to get a job. Traveling is nice and everything, but let's be real. So she interviewed me and said said we're really interested in your profile. We would like to continue the process, but I was actually I won another scholarship. So I was in Canada in that time. And said oh yeah, I would also like to continue, but right now I'm in Canada, I'm not in Mexico. And so oh no, don't worry. The position is remote. And I was are you kidding me? So there are no offices, and people are just working from anywhere. And she was yeah, we have one of our directors is French, and we have other people from Argentina, and we're all working. And I was oh my God, now I really, really want this job. So I continued the process, blah, blah, blah. I got hired, and I finished university. My last semester at university was done remotely in my hometown, because I was really busy working on that. But then they offered me to be a coordinator in one of the programs in San Francisco. So I said even more free travel. Right. And this time I'm getting paid. So I went to San Francisco, and, I just fell in love more with traveling. But now I could actually, afford to kind of do it, because San Francisco is really, really expensive.
Right.
Like housing, I was never going to be able to pay rent in San Francisco with my Mexican salary. And then I found this platform
Pesos,
where, where you can take care of pets for, well, like they don't pay you, but you get free accommodation. So I started doing that, like house sitting.
What are they called again? Trusted house sitters?
Trusted house sitters, yeah. So I kept doing that for like 5 weeks in San Francisco, and I was like, oh my God, like I can work from anywhere. Like the biggest expense when you travel is either flight or accommodation. And now I found free accommodation. So I can do it. So I just went back home because I couldn't stay any longer in the US. Went back to Mexico, but I kept searching, you know, on the site, and I saw houses everywhere. And I wanted to go back to Europe. And I said like, okay, this is a moment. I need to do it. And I found a house in France, and I applied and I got accepted. And one of my passions, you know, is like making videos. Ever since I was in junior high, I don't know the name of it in English, when you're like about 15 years old, I got really passionate, you know, about making videos. And every time there was a school project, I was in charge of making the videos, the visuals, everything about that. So, and I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel or just like making videos and posting them online, but I was too afraid. And I said like, what am I going to talk about? I have nothing interesting to say. But then I was going to Europe, and I said, this is it. Like, this is the perfect moment to actually do it. So I bought a camera and I went to Europe, and I started, you know, traveling full time.
I want to know.
And then now I don't want to stop.
We definitely want to know about. Amazing. So let's talk about specifically about the time. So it sounds like for you, a lot of things came together, right? But I mean, just to say, just so that the audience knows, I know Dalia prior to this. We actually met in San Francisco. So I know a little bit more as far as like what she's telling us about the trusted house sitters. So I could like give a little bit of background. Like, not everybody could go on trusted house sitters and then book houses back to back and then always stay. It's just the way you do things, Dalia, is not like the way a lot of people I've seen they do it, you know? Because I remember one of the things that you were doing when you were looking for houses, you had no profile reviews, right? So then can you tell the audience what you were doing to avoid that and then sort of like, you know, introduce yourself to hosts?
Yeah, of course. So I think one of the things that define me, it's that I don't take a no for an answer. Like, I know there's always a way, for real. And even if there's not, like, what else is there to lose? You need to try things. Like the scholarship, I told you that it was only for engineers. I was gonna say like, I shouldn't apply because it's not for me, and I want it. So there's always a way. So I thought, okay, I have an advantage that I'm already in San Francisco. I don't have any reviews in my profile, so that makes my profile really weak compared to other, you know, experienced house sitting. So what I said is like, every time I apply to a new house, I said like, hey, how are you? I'd love to take care of your house. I'm exploring the city. Actually, I'm already here. If you would like to meet, you know, with no commitment whatsoever, you can interview me live. So that's not a lot of people that, you know, that can do. So I thought of like a creative way of solve my problem of no reviews. And what were they to lose? Like, they were just gonna meet me. They were not giving me the position or anything. But once like people meet you, like, it's pretty easy, you know, to feel if there's a connection or a good fit. And every interview that I went to, you know, like live, they said like, yeah, one guy even gave me his keys. Like, this is my spare key. Come, you know, like in 2 weeks. And I was like, thank you. So yeah, like, I think you just need to find a way to make things happen, because there's always a way. And what I did, you know, I was really lucky as well that in San Francisco there are many people searching for house sitters. So I tried to match the dates.
Yeah.
So I was going, you know, like 10 weeks to this house, and then maybe it overlaps one day with this other house sitting, but most of them leave one day after or before. So I was just applying and then trying to figure out the logistics. And even if I went like, I only was like homeless one day I couldn't find, you know, like there was a gap between my house sitting arrangement. And I had a friend over there. And I had a cousin as well. He lived in San Jose. So I said, like, worst case scenario, I'll just go to San Jose. And then I had another friend who was living in the city. And I told her, like, I have no place to stay. Could I stay, like, in your sofa? And she was like, oh, no, I'm not in town. But I have a friend who has a friend.
She's like, I don't have a sofa. What are you talking about?
No, because she was in Ireland, or I don't even know. And she forgot to give me her key. I was supposed to stay with her, and she forgot to give me her key.
Wow.
And then she said, like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. Okay, but I have a friend who will let you stay at her house. And I was like, okay, I don't mind. I just need a place to sleep. And yeah, so, you know, even if something appears that it's not going to work out, I don't know. In the end, they always do and I always think, like, what's the worst thing that could happen and how can I make it less worse?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Wow. That is, I think, like your strength, right? So you sort of already set out to do the things that you want to do in a different way. And you coming from a place of like, you're like, okay, so, you know, like that's basically thinking about doing anything new, any new experiences in your life. You're like, okay, so what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And then there is a whole, if you like a lot of self-help books, they talk about the idea of like, you first want to learn how to fail. Right. So then when you learn how to fail, then you think about, well, how can I fail better? Right. Like, how do I make it less worse? Right. So now it would be perfect opportunity to transition to what you're doing right now. As far as I know you told me a little bit before the show, but please tell us a little bit about the travel blogging and when did you like decided you're like, okay, so now I will shift my focus. Specifically, I know you mentioned something about friends where you said that's when like I got my camera and I was like, okay, I got this. So then tell us about that moment when you had that light bulb and you're like, okay, done. I'm going to start doing this. And then we'll go deeper as far as like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So I think one of the main thing that prevented me from starting, and I think it's a really common issue for everyone that wants to start, you know, posting themselves out on social media. Like, what will people say? What will people, like they're gonna make fun of me, or it's gonna fail. Why should I even bother? But then again, like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, what? I will have 0 views on my channel. Then what? Like, I don't care. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy recording. I enjoy editing. So worst case scenario, I get a new hobby. I get better at editing, and maybe I can then work from it. So I said, you know what? Like I don't mind. So yeah, and I remember when I was recording my first ever vlog, and now I see it, and I feel like the edition is like so bad, and I was like, I wish I could delete that from YouTube, but I said like, no, it's the first one, I will not do it. But I remember, you know, I was walking in Paris with my GoPro in front of me, and I was like walking in this Champs-Élysées, which is where the Arc of Triumph is, and it's like one of the most crowded places in Paris. So I was just walking, trying to talk with the camera. I have so many videos of me like, oh no, this one again, like, no, I forgot to say this thing, and I forgot to say that thing. And in the end, I got like, I don't even know, like maybe an hour and a half of recording and me just talking and on camera and not saying anything. It was the worst, and it took me a lot of time to edit that, I think, like 3-minute video, because there was not a single good shot. It was awful. But it helped me. Like, it gave me a lot of confidence, because now I can just do whatever I want in public, and I don't mind if people will judge me or tell me anything or like make fun of me. Like, I don't even know them. So yeah, I think the hardest part is always starting, because you create
Right.
yourself like a lot of non-existent problems, you know, like
Hmm.
I will not have the time, I will not have the money, I will not have the energy. You just need to make it happen. Like editing my videos takes me between
Right.
8 to 10 hours, you know, per video that I upload.
Wow.
So I just said like, okay, I say I don't have the time, but I'm always on Facebook, I'm always on Instagram, I'm always on Netflix. Like that's just 8 episodes of a TV show, and I've watched many, many, many TV episodes. So I said like, you know what? I'm just gonna
Yeah.
focus my weekends. Even if I don't sleep on Saturdays, I don't mind. I will have my video uploaded
Right.
by Sunday. And while I was traveling, it was really
Right.
hard to do it because I was either traveling or working or
Mm.
editing. So
Yeah.
while I was traveling, I
Yeah.
couldn't edit a lot. I just put out, I think, 2 videos. And then the pandemic happened.
Mm.
So, you know, I think the
Mm.
pandemic was also a huge, like, moment for a lot of people that changed our perspective. And now I didn't have anything to do. I
Right.
couldn't travel, so I couldn't create any more content, but I could work on the content that I already had. So that's what I did in the pandemic.
Right.
I think I started posting periodically since August, and that's where the numbers started increasing.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
Wow.
like
That's
sort of it
amazing.
happened.
So let's just like start from like, so you know, for a lot of people it's not, I know that like you sound like the type of person that you've already sort of had the mindset that would like be in line with like YouTubers or anybody who would do something like on a freelancer level or something like on an entrepreneurial side, right? Because you already had these questions, sort of like a good answers to these questions that people don't have good answers, right? So like somebody would be like, oh, it's not that you don't get the views on YouTube. People also worry about negative comments, right? They're like, what if people see it and then leave a negative comment, or like somebody I care about, would they think of me? Then they will give me like a bad review, right? I think some people, they do have the luxury of having the confidence to be like, well, I don't really care about what other people think of me. You know, I can just do whatever I'm passionate about, even if I look silly, you know, in all these videos. I mean, think about, it's just the idea of like, it's fascinating when you talk about YouTubers. It's the idea of, just think about logistically, right? You're holding a stick, a selfie stick, or whatever tripod you're holding, and you're out there in the street. You're holding it against yourself, and you're making sure that that doesn't shake too much, right? So you have all the other technical things you have to worry about, and then you have to do this in front of everybody else. Right. So yeah, ultimately, I was summarizing by saying that you do, compared to a lot of people I've known in my life, who ask the same questions that you ask yourself when you started your journey. And the reason that for you, it was like, you know, smoother sail versus like for a lot of other folks, because you have that mindset. You think outside the box, you know. So we really appreciate the feedback that you're giving us on all these questions. So let's just talk about your travel blogging specifically, right? So where are you at right now, and what is it about?
Okay, so mainly, of course, I'm a travel blogger, so I post about my travels and my trips. But what I would like to give, you know, whoever watches my channel, is first the opportunity to get to know the place. While I was during the pandemic, I started following a YouTuber in New York, and he only posts himself walking in New York. That's his content, and it's just hours of him walking the streets of New York live
Do you
every
know
day.
what was his name? Do you remember his name?
Action Kid, Action Kid. His name
Oh,
is.
okay. Action
Um,
Kid. Got it.
so he just walks and walks and walks and walks and walks on hours on end in New York. He has like 7 hour long videos of him walking in New York, and there, he
Jesus.
had like hundreds of thousands of views. And I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
what is it about? Like, why do people just want to stare at a computer screen of the streets of New York. I mean, he's not even narrating. He's not saying anything. Just sometimes he's like, oh, I like this house.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this bird. It's so pretty. But that's it. And I said like, oh my God, and he's so successful. Like, why? And it's because there are a lot of people that unfortunately cannot have the luxury of travel, you know? And I'm not saying that I'm traveling luxuriously. I mean, look at my background. You know where I am.
Right.
But
right.
it's still a luxury, you know, to get to meet other places. And I just want to give that luxury, if it's only on a computer screen, to the people, you know. I want them to feel how I feel when I get to a new place. I want them to have this feeling. I just uploaded like the not the last video, but the previous one. The sensation that I felt when I first arrived to one of the beaches, and it was like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe this was Mexico. I thought like I was in Hawaii or Bali. I've never been to those places, but that's how they seem on Instagram. And sometimes people don't even know, you know, that we have those sort of places in our own home country. So I just want people to get this sense of, I don't know, adventure and all of that. So I said like, okay, I'm going to do it because I love traveling and I want people to feel, even if it's just a little bit, what I feel when I travel. And then also when I travel, I get really frustrated because I don't find the information that I want. Like I'm a really budget traveler person. Like I just use public transport. I try to stay everywhere for free. I don't have money to spend on food. So I want to know specific things, you know, like what's the time the first bus in Mexico comes from this place to this place? And it's public transport in Mexico. There is no official information of that. It's the time that the bus driver decides to wake up.
No.
So what do? I ask the bus driver, like, hey, at what time do you start this route? And then he says, sometimes 6 a.m., sometimes 6:30. And that's what I said on the video, you know, like, okay, sometimes the bus comes at 6, sometimes it comes at 6:30, but you already have that information that it literally didn't exist and only locals have. If you ask the lady that needs to take that bus every day to work, she's gonna know, you know? Well, sometimes I arrive early to my work and sometimes I don't. And then like, there are also a lot of things that I would like, I call myself a slow man because I'm a nomad, but I stay long times in places, you know. In San Francisco, I stayed for 4 months. I stayed 3 months in another city in Mexico called San Miguel de Allende, 3 months in this other surf town called Puerto Escondido.
Wait, what was the, is that an actual word or did you make that up?
I think I read it somewhere. Like it's not, I didn't invent it. I'm not as creative myself, but I loved it, you know, slow man. And I was like, yeah,
I was
that's
like, okay, the
am.
quotation mark by Dalia. Yeah.
No, I wish I could have invented that. So then when you arrive to a new place, you always want to know like, okay, like I'm hungry, where do I eat? And of course you have Yelp and you have like these places, but in places like Mexico, the lady with the best taco stand is not going to appear on Yelp. It's not going to be on Google. So who do you ask? The locals. And that's what I try to do with my videos. You know, I ask my surf instructor, the lady that rents me her bedroom in at her house, like, where would you go to eat and have dinner today? And that's what I like to give people. So I think those are the things that I try to do with my YouTube channel. Now, where am I with my channel? I am making slow progress, but still progress. So I'm really proud of it. I could have never imagined that I would get 1,000 subscribers. I saw that milestone, you know, like so far away. But it happened. Eventually,
that was amazing.
It happened.
I was actually, I was following you on Facebook. I saw like how you were using Facebook, and then you were telling your friends, you were like, guys, you know, I'm doing this, follow me. And I remember you posted saying, oh my God, like I hit the 1,000, you know, subscribers. I mean, I can tell you, like, I'm really proud of you for how far you've come. Absolutely. Like the way you figured this out, like I was actually genuinely curious. I was like, how is she going to figure this out? Right. Yeah. So like, let's just like break it down a little bit, like as far as like logistics, right? So if you look back, you know, because I think in a lot of cases, what happens is you do a lot of trial and error, right? You do things and it doesn't work. You do things, it doesn't work. And with the experience that you were sharing in France, where you were like, you don't think that this is just 20 minutes of video. This is actually 7 hours of video. I had to like crop a lot of things out. So if you would have like look back, right? So what would you do things differently? Or what would you say to somebody who's right now thinking about starting their own YouTube channel, and then they're like, oh my God, like I got to figure out about the camera. And then because I think a lot of people make a mistake thinking, being too technical. Yeah. They're like, oh, I got to figure out the gear. Like, what would be like your advice?
I was actually so frustrated by that, because of course you always want to have a $100,000 camera and a $5,000 microphone. Right. And I don't have money. Either I travel or I buy stuff to record my trips. So what am I supposed to do? Mm-hmm. So I was so frustrated, and I kept, like watching reviews and all of this. And I read something, or I saw something, I don't even remember, is that the best equipment that you have is the one that you can afford, and the one that you already have. It doesn't have to be, the latest camera or whatever. You can make a video with your phone, and I include many clips on my channel with my phone. I record my voice over with this old thing. So of course, eventually, when I get the money, I will try to upgrade my equipment. But it's either I start with what I have, or I never start. And once you start, that's when you make progress. And as I told you, I see now the first video that I uploaded, and it's so awful. But if I had said like, no, I don't have the camera, I don't have the equipment, I don't have blah, 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 I would have never had this progress, the one that I have now, where I see like, oh, like maybe if I edit this in this way, it will be more, it will be better for the audience or whatever. And you can only see that progress once you start. So I will tell you, like, just start. It's better to start, as you said, like just start and fail and try again and fail, blah, blah. But you learn every time that you do it. Yeah. But if you never start, you will never learn, and you will never progress.
I like this. I like this answer a lot. I genuinely I think the same way. I remember I was at the interview at this like great company, and I passed all the rounds, and then I was with the last guy who makes the executive decision. So he was the VP basically. And then this guy question was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I think I read a lot on Reddit, and people like to just like tell him that you want to be like him, like he's so great and everything. So I made a mistake of telling him that. I was like, look, I obviously like where you at, right? Like as a VP in the company, I'm like, that's where I want to be. And what do I need to do as far as like the things that you have done that I can replicate to get there? And then he was upset by that answer. And I didn't get a job because of that, because he was like, look, Alex, he's like, you can't just use somebody's blueprint, like technically, and following every rules, because that might work for me, but that might not work for you. Like the resources that is available to you is not going to be available to me, or like the other way around. Right. So that is a great answer. That's like generally how life, like presents you with certain resources. So you just need to maximize and do your best with what you have. Yeah. So let's talk about one of your contents out of everything that you've posted so far that just broke out. Right. It doesn't have to be a million views, obviously, but something that like out of everything that you posted, it became popular. And then you were like, wow, this was like, you just taken off by the algorithm, and it was just amazing. And then could you like elaborate your process as to like, how did you execute, and how did it go viral, and what was the idea behind it?
I think in YouTube, I don't know, there's a lot of videos on how to beat the YouTube algorithm, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, I think it's just, it's just posting consistently. And then like eventually, if you're posting, it doesn't even have to be great quality. It will happen. You just need to post it consistently. And I saw it. So I was posting, like every Sunday. And my videos got like 300 views, 200 views. And I was like so excited because, oh my God, the first one, well, the first one was really popular, but it was like, why is she uploading things to YouTube? So all my friends were watching it. but the second one was like 100 views or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this was not gonna, like blow overnight. But then I started, in this city called San Miguel de Allende, which is a really popular city in Mexico. And I posted 5 videos of that town, one of things to do, one of things not to do, where to eat, where to take pictures, and a walking tour, something like that. The walking tour, because I love, the New York walking tours that I saw in the pandemic. And then, I don't know, the numbers just started growing and growing and growing, and I couldn't believe it. And my most watched YouTube video right now, it's one what not to do, because everyone focuses on what to do, tips to where you go, blah 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 blah. But I posted something different. What shouldn't you do when you go there, And it got 30,000 views right now. And then where to eat, I really narrow the video, because when you watch a video of a place, you have what to do and maybe a restaurant and a tip or something like that. But I really narrowed down the topics: what to do, what not to do, where to eat. And the word to eat, it's 23,000 views or something like that. So I said oh my God, this is working.
Oh, wow.
So maybe I just need to, I love spending a lot of time in a city. So I'm going to, break down these different topics of the city. And what happens if a person watches a video of a city and then he or she sees that you have another video about that same city, they're going to watch it. So that's what I'm doing right now with the content that I'm uploading right now. So right now I'm just starting with Puerto Escondido, but I've been traveling for 6 months, and for every city that I visit, I have, different topics of the same city. So it's just not your basic of what to do the first 24 hours and blah, 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 blah. But I really narrow it down. And I'm even thinking of making, shorter videos of 3 minutes or less of really, really specific things, how to take the most popular, bus route in Puerto Escondido, because there are a lot of foreigners. They don't speak Spanish. They're not gonna ask the bus driver at what time he wakes up. So I'm trying to.
No,
they're
gonna go on YouTube. They're gonna go on YouTube and follow someone like you, basically.
And so I think that's what happened with my most popular videos, and what I'm trying to replicate with the next ones that I will be uploading.
That's beautiful. No, definitely. I to me it sounds like I was before this interview, me and Oliver, he's our sound engineer right now on this podcast. We were watching some of your content, and we were watching your experiences, how you were recording it, how you were going through the city and everything. And we were just we look at each other. We're like, okay, this definitely works, because as an audience, as a viewer, what you were describing earlier, the guy who walked in New York for 7 hours, is just also think about pandemic. A lot of people just got stuck at home. They don't have any luxury to go to exotic destinations, in Mexico somewhere, or anywhere. So they're look, let me just at least experience it through somebody else's lens. So I want to quickly step back and sort of elaborate on the big question here. So coming to Not Suited, we always excited to learn about ideas, about something that you figured out in the way that you do things that is not suited in a traditional sense. And from what you've told me, I can think of thousands, right? But if you would pick your favorite, something that you, along your journey of becoming, well, I don't want to limit you as saying that you're just a travel blogger. I know there's a lot of facets to what you're trying to do. And I think, in my opinion, that you have not yet identified the full picture or the scope of what you're trying to do. You're okay, so this is working. I'm still building on it. And, you're at 1,000, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to stop at 1,000. You're going to keep growing, and you're going to keep making more content. So if you share one idea that is working for you as far as this pursuit of becoming a YouTuber or travel blogger and then uploading it on YouTube, what would that be?
I think just posting consistently, which is something that I have not been successful at doing because life happens, you know, that's a reality. Sometimes you're just, you can't make the time to make it happen. But I also saw another YouTuber say, like, if you post consistently every week for 2 years, your life is going to change. And I believe it because I've seen it. I only posted consistently for 5 months and I already started, you know, seeing like things moving. And it's just, you know, like this snowball that will just continue. And I don't plan on working forever. I am working right now because I need to do it in order to build what I want for my future, you know? So I hope to eventually transition to a part-time position and then just like, you know, quit my job completely and just travel. And again, just like keep traveling.
Just be careful because this is going to go on YouTube.
No, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind. They're not going to see it.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
But like, it's my dream, you know? I don't see myself working till I'm 65. It's because in Mexico, you don't even get a nice pension. Like, no, there's nothing you can do with that money. So it's either maybe right now I don't have my weekends off because every Saturday it's me editing my videos full day. But I don't mind because I know that in 2 years, I will be able to just travel and do what I love most. I'm really, really lucky to have found this so early on. I know that, I don't know, some people just keep working till they're like 30, 35, 40, blah, blah, blah. And they never feel fulfilled with their life, with what they're doing. Right now, I'm so happy every day. For real.
Yeah.
Like, I wake up, I have breakfast, I have to work. But what happens afterwards? I take my surfboard, I go to a beach, I surf or try to surf for 2 hours. Then I just come back and edit some photos, blah, blah, whatever. And right now, because I'm on holiday, you know, I'm taking my own holidays from traveling because I was traveling nonstop for 6 months. Every weekend I went to a waterfall or to a new beach or, you know, to hot springs or a mountain. I climbed a volcano. And so I'm also pushing myself to new limits that I didn't know, you know, that I could do. So I think
absolutely.
The not suited thing is that I'm still working, but I'm working just so that in 2 years or so I'll have to stop and just make what I want, which is a not common lifestyle. Like I've never wanted a big house, the nicest car, blah blah. Maybe I want the nicest camera, but that's like the only material thing that I would love to have. But I don't mind. I just feel so happy traveling and discovering. And this is going to sound like really, really cheesy, but yesterday I was walking home. I walked to a place that is far away to buy a smoothie because I was hungry, and the smoothies where I'm staying are a little bit expensive. So I thought, like, no, I don't have the money, but I want the smoothie. So I went a walk. And I was coming back with my smoothie, and then like the sky cleared up. It was at night. And the stars were so amazing. Where I am right now, it's like a 2-block town. 2 blocks. So there's literally no light pollution. And I could see like the stars, and I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And then I saw like the field because I was walking on this road, and then there were fireflies. So I was seeing the stars and the fireflies, and it was so amazing. I started crying. Like, I can't believe I'm so happy and so lucky to be living this. And
please tell me do you have a picture? Do you have a picture of the sky and then the firefly?
No, it's really, really hard to capture stars.
I would love to show it to
firefly.
the audience. Yeah.
I will try. I will take like a night lapse and I mean, it will not be yesterday's, but I will try to capture it. And I have experienced.
Yeah, if you have anything.
Yeah, the thing is that I have experienced this like at least 2 or 3 times a month in the last year or so of my life, and I'm so happy. You know, I'm so happy and so fulfilled with these little moments of my life. But like, what else do I need? I don't need anything else, and I'm just looking forward to a time where I can do this for the rest of my life and not worry about having a meeting 8 a.m., you know, next day. So I'm
This
sure
is
it will be
this
all
is an
worth it,
amazing.
and I'm really
Yeah.
happy.
It- yeah, I have to say, like, your story is amazing. I mean, this could be a like an evidence or a proof to anyone who's like complaining about, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. There's always a way you can figure out, pursue something, outside the scope of like what's you think it's needed or what's posted online saying that, oh, guys, like buy the camera or buy this or like figure out. Because I think there's always like on the internet, they have a lot of articles about, oh, you have to like at least like have a 500 budget or like 1,000. Some people, they work, 9 to 5 at a fast food restaurant. They don't have that budget. They barely make ends meet. So they're like,
And let,
I
let
can't
me
really
let me
do
tell
it.
you, they
But
make
honestly,
more
if I put you there,
they
yeah,
make more money than I do, I'm sure. So they do have the means to make it happen.
I'm positive. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. 100%, 100%. But that's amazing. Like, so like your story is like, it's basically proof to, I think anybody who's just sitting there and watching this and then they're like, okay, so like, I guess I don't have to buy that camera that I wanted, or like, I I didn't need that microphone. Just, just as you said, post consistently, post anything, like create something. Cause also like the other aspect of what you're doing is it's very interesting. It's the idea of like, and a lot of people, a lot of people who like famous, and then like someone like Joe Rogan, he had this saying. He was saying that, look, guys, like obviously a lot of people live the life of quiet desperation, where you live the life of 9 to 5. You hoping that the government will take care of you, right? But then you like for right now, if you look at the system and then see the benefits they're offering you, they're not even that great. You're better off just paying for everything as far as like your health insurance and just figure out a way out. So then you'll be relying on yourself. You're not relying on the government to take care of you. And then even like an employer, right? Like oh, I gotta be, 9 to 5 and I have to be my best. I can like, relax. Like I can like take a nap in the afternoon. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just fascinating because right now, if you put in the same room Gen Z and you put a millennial and then you put a person who's like, like where the baby boomers, right? So if you put them all in the same room and then you see the way they approach things, that would be completely different. Like Gen Z probably they would like get that anything like technical side or like figuring out, because what you said also, like you said, I don't use my camera all the time when I produce. I use my phone, right? While like a lot of people waiting, they're like, oh, I gotta get the camera. You don't need the camera. You don't need just like anything at your disposal. Just like record it and post it. As long as you have a story interesting enough to, not even the story. There are people like walking and just recording the streets. Like I guess you can do that too. Dalia, so before we wrap up, there is one last question I want to ask you. Um, I'm sure there is a long journey ahead of you, and you probably even. I feel like what you're trying to do will depend on your experiences as far as the content, right? Yeah, please. So I guess yeah. So the question is, having said everything as far as your experiences, which is super exciting, and we want to know where you're going or what's your vision, right, for your channel, right? Like, what do you see yourself in 5 years, or like what you were maybe what is your dream as far as like what do you want this to become one day?
Okay, so I guess my dream first, like in a short to medium period of time, would be for my YouTube channel or whatever comes out of my audience to help myself live out of it, So that'd be my main source of income, or a way that allows me just to travel full time, and that's how I pay like my lifestyle. I think that would be like the first milestone, like first like go half-time job and then just like quit and dedicate myself to that. But one dream that I would love to accomplish one day, maybe it's not 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years, would be to visit outer space, go to the moon or circle around the earth or whatever. And I know that this sounds like so impossible, but I know it's not, because Jeff Bezos and Richard, I don't know his name, and Elon Musk, they're all working on commercial travel. So I know it will be available, and somehow my YouTube channel will allow me to get there. So maybe in 20 years you will see my 7-hour video from when I go to space or something like that. And that's what I see. I mean, it seems impossible, but I know there's a way. So I will find it.
And I'm confident you're going to figure this out. And especially with what you said, I think I'm also a believer that these guys, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they'll definitely will make it affordable for us to be able to go to space. You know, I don't think it's going to be the matter of, is it possible or not? It's going to be the matter of like, do I want to go to space, or do I not want to? Dalia, thank you so much for coming to our first podcast, and thank you for your support. Like, your story, honestly, like, it's an inspiration to me, and I'm pretty sure it's an inspiration to everybody who's just sitting at home and watching this, and then they want to get some ideas, or at the very least to get like a little boost, right? To just get up and record something and post something. So I would love to see you again. I'll definitely will be in touch. Really appreciate that you came to this podcast and you got us started, as it is our first pilot episode. And is there any last comments or thoughts you want to say to the audience?
No. Well, thank you for having me once again. I will tell anyone who is listening to this that if they have any questions, they can contact me. They can find me on YouTube as Dalia Glow, which is DALIAGLO, all together. Or on Instagram, you can find me the same way. But, I think just go and follow your dreams. I know they might seem impossible, but everything seemed impossible in the beginning, no? Like, no one expected anything to happen, and we're all here. So yeah, just go and follow your dreams and try to fight to live the life of your dreams, because if you don't fight, no one will fight it to make it happen. So that's it.